Hey, it's Lawrence here, bringing you another episode on High Intensity Business. And in this podcast, I interview Sherry McKenna. Sherry is a senior executive and high performance busy professional. And since I interviewed Kristen Rowell, who is a client of Discover Strength and also a busy professional, I had my good friend Owen reach out to me to say, hey, you did a great job interviewing Kristen, and I think you'd really enjoy speaking to Sherry. And he was not wrong. I had a great time talking to Sherry. And what we do in this podcast, at least what I try and aim to do, is to help you and help myself really develop a better understanding of the senior executive, of the busy professional, because I know many of us have that individual in our target market for our business. And what I think you'll find really fascinating about this episode is the way Sherry thinks about her investment in exercise, how much she values high intensity training and personal training and expertise, how much she values the efficiency, the effectiveness, how she thinks about her investment in personal training. It's very, very interesting, and I think very different to how many of us might think about an investment in personal training or how our trainers might think about that. So it's incredibly interesting to hear her talk about this. I think you're going to develop such a great understanding of this particular target market to help you hone your messaging, your communication, your customer service and experience, that you can retain and attract more people like this within your business and ultimately create a more profitable high intensity training business for you. What I also enjoyed about this episode is we do talk about her adventure in exercise, her overall journey, and we talk about her discovery of HIIT and how she feels about it and her passion for it. And it's incredibly infectious, and it will inspire you and kind of remind you just how much, if you need reminding, just how much value you provide to your clients with this training service. And then lastly, she is, as you will find out, the senior executive for Oddworld Inhabitants and co-chairman or co-owner and chairman, sorry. And so they're responsible for a very popular video game called Abe's Odyssey, which I used to love as a kid, although it was incredibly hard and I struggled with it, but that's more about me than the game. And so I do take the time to ask her about the game and the history, and that was very interesting for me. And you might not find that so interesting, but that is towards the end of this episode after all the stuff that I know you probably will find very interesting. So once you've done with the episode, please head on over to highintensitybusiness.com/tactics to get access to a free PDF with 10 proven ways to get more clients for your HIIT business. And please subscribe on your favorite platforms so that you are updated with new episodes every single week. And without any further ado, please enjoy my podcast with Sherry McKenna. Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to highintensitybusiness.com. This is episode 291. Today's topic, although I'm sure we're going to go off topic to an extent, is going to be focused around understanding, getting inside the mind of your target market. I had a guest on the podcast before who was a busy female executive, and obviously a lot of you guys listening to this have people of that sort or similar in your clientele and want to try and understand how you can understand that client better and actually acquire more clients like that into your business. And to join me on this podcast today is Sherry McKenna. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you.
Who I would say, obviously she's a very unique character and we'll get into the details of that, but she does kind of occupy that kind of busy executive target market. And I think in this podcast, we're really going to obtain a better understanding of what makes Sherry tick and why she loves high intensity training. Sherry is the co-owner and chairman of the video game company Oddworld Inhabitants, which are responsible for Abe's Odyssey, Abe's Exodus, Munchie's Odyssey, Stranger's Wrath, New and Tasty, and the long-awaited Soulstorm, which I believe is pending release, which Sherry was telling me about before we got rolling. She is also responsible, she is the show producer on Back to the Future, Hanna-Barbera, and was the visual effects producer for The Last Starfighter, 2010, Labyrinth, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I'm sure the listeners are very familiar with the majority of those films I listed. So incredibly accomplished. It's my honor. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me today, Sherry.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful. You're doing a massive favor, and I'm excited to talk to you. So just to set the scene for my audience, obviously you're a client of Live Oak Strength, which is a business in Oakland run by Owen Dockham and his wife Lucy. And when I had a guest on a podcast recently talking about her experience as a busy executive in high intensity training, they said, "Oh, you have to have Sherry on the show. She's very similar, and she really gets it. She's really passionate about high intensity training, and I think your audience will really enjoy listening to her." So I jumped at a chance. So when he said that you were behind Oddworld, I thought, wow, that's amazing. I played Abe's Odyssey as a youngster. So I have a lot of nostalgia and fond memories around that. So that was really cool. So do you want to just start off by explaining, what it is how did you get involved with high intensity training? How did that whole thing start?
So let me just give you a little bit of my background. This is really silly, but when I was in high school, I knew I had to try out for cheerleader because my best friend wanted to try out for cheerleader, and I didn't want to do that. And I've got really skinny legs and skinny arms, and so I figured, okay, I can't get in front of the whole school with these legs and these arms because you have to wear shorts to try out and, to do the whole thing. So what I did is I started working out at a gym. And in those days, I'm old, you got to understand. So in my day, it was like Bruce Connor's gym or Gold's gym, and there were no girls there. And so I started working out actually when I was in high school, when I was like, I don't know, 15 or 16, I would say. And so I was working out with weights, and I knew then, okay, this is what I need to do. And as I got older, I continued with the weights, and I always worked out, always. And then I think it was, I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. It was a long time ago when we were starting Oddworld, I guess 25 years ago, right? And so we were in San Luis Obispo, and I had a trainer come to my house, and I had all of the equipment, all of Gold's gym equipment, you name it, I had it. I worked out 7 days a week for an hour every day, and I did the treadmill, okay? Then they invented Pilates. So I bought the Pilates table, and I worked out in Pilates. Then they invented gyrotonics. I don't know if you guys know what gyrotonics is. It's kind of like Pilates, but it has weights. Okay? So I loved it. And then we moved up here to Berkeley, which is, by Oakland. And it was like, okay, I've got to find a trainer. And it was, I did. I found a really good trainer. But I realized, okay, now she had to leave. So I had to find a trainer.
Why did you find a trainer when before you were doing, it sounds like you were doing this stuff autonomously on your own?
Never. Right? I'm sorry. I never did it on myself. Never. I always had a trainer. So when I had all that Gold's equipment, I would have a trainer come. I had really high-end, like one of my trainers was a muscle-bound dude and, like that. So no, I've always had a trainer, always. I really believe in that. Absolutely. You cannot, even when you're just doing normal, when you're just, even without HIIT, if you're just doing any kind of thing, you need a trainer because it's impossible to be able to monitor your form, in my opinion. So you really want someone watching every rep. Okay. So then I came up here in Emeryville. We're in Emeryville, and I have no equipment. So I had to find someone outside. And when I read about HIIT, I thought, it doesn't, it sounds ridiculous. I mean, who could only work out for 20 minutes a day and really think they're going to get results? But heck, I'll try it. Why not? So I, went down to where they were, and, they do this intake or whatever it's called. And I figured, I'll give it a try. And so, because I've been working out my whole life, I mean, like, I don't mean to be arrogant, but, I'm sort of an expert on what works for me and what doesn't work. And, everything was like, okay, my past was not bad. Pilates was good. Stretching was good. Running, not so good. I think that's not a good thing to do because of as you get older, your knees, all the joints and stuff. But anyway, I knew I needed a trainer since we're in Emeryville. And I also knew it had to be close to my work. As it turns out, where Lucy and Owen are, it's like a 15-minute walk from my studio where we do the games to where their studio was. And I figured, okay, I'll try it. Let me just say, I mean, I should be their rep because There is nothing that actually built, in my opinion, this is all obviously my opinion, so I'll stop saying that because no, Sherry, it's someone else's opinion. No, it's my opinion. But the proof is in the pudding. And so when I started working out, they said, you only need to work out 1 day a week. I went, well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I thought to myself, I've been working out 7 days a week my whole life with trainers. So I started working out with Lucy. And let me just tell you, it's that book, if you like exercise, you're probably doing it wrong. Let me just tell you, this is not going to sound good to all of you people out there, but if anyone likes what they're doing, at HIIT, they're doing it wrong because there's no way to like it. The reason that you like it is the results. I have never, ever in my 8 million years of working out seen results that I have seen with HIIT. It's remarkable. No, you're too young. Jane Fonda in the old days would go when she, yeah, okay. So she was saying, no pain, no gain, right? And she was right, except at the time, everybody's going, no, this is not a good idea. You got to like the exercise. And what is she talking about? No pain. Well, there's pain when you do HIIT because they absolutely work the muscle to exhaustion and it hurts. And the only reason you do it is because of the results. Mm-hmm. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Love it. What a great start. So one of the things I just wanted to backtrack on for a moment is you mentioned you went straight to the free introductory session that you went for with Live Oak Strength is what I think you were alluding to. But how did you actually find out about them in the first place?
That's a good question. I was just, it's really weird. On the internet, I got, not for them, it's just, I was just, looking around and another company, which I can't remember the name of, was doing the same thing. And so it was an advertisement that I saw, and it said you only have to work out, 20 minutes and like that. And I went first to that other studio that does HIIT, except it was creepy, and I was, like you had to go up these stairs, and they didn't have a lot of machines, and it was weird. That's how so I basically went, I went to this other studio first because it was an advertisement. Generally, I don't like ads. None of us do. But when I saw, you only have to work out for 20 minutes, I thought, it's probably not true, but I'll give it a try. So that's how I saw it. It was actually an advertisement. I don't remember what I was on, but I'm also sort of into health a lot, so I get those kinds of pop-ups.
Was it like so it was an online advertisement?
Yes, of some kind? Okay. It was an online advertising.
Now, without mentioning the name of that other studio, which you weren't massively fond of, was it the same protocol? Because obviously high-intensity training is highly ambiguous, right? So it was the same kind of thing, right?
Same protocol, same everything. And they gave me this big book, and they gave me all this stuff. And I did the protocol there. I did what's it called, that first, introductory thing there.
Sure.
Because I had already made an appointment. And, I don't think that they were... So since I'm not mentioning names, they just weren't trained as they should be. I know good trainers because I've been working out forever. And it was the same concept where you work out 20 minutes, but they were not as exacting. They weren't, Owen and Lucy are perfectionists. They really care about you doing the exercise correctly every rep, and they're really, really passionate about what they do. They are not in it for the money, and that comes across very clearly. So that's how I first heard about it. And then when I found out that this was close to my studio, I didn't like the other place. It was like, thank you, angels, it worked.
Mm. And can you speak more on when you went to Live Oak Strength and had your first session, what really sold you? You mentioned there about if I may say, like, they were really bullish on form,
yes.
in their instruction, right? Can you speak more on what made you kind of think, yeah, this is where I'm training?
I think what impressed me, a lot of things impressed me. First of all, they have a beautiful studio. It's big. They have a lot of equipment, so that impressed me. I can't even imagine how much money it goes into having to have all of that equipment, but it's very impressive. And what really impressed me was when I first did that first whatever it's called, that first intake thing. What I was really so happy that what they were caring about was doing it right. Now, why did I care after I left? Because I was in total pain. I thought, I'm going to die, and this is the worst thing I've ever done, and my legs are killing me, my arms are killing me, I can't do this. And that meant that's a good workout. And I knew that. I knew because I'd read, that if you really want to gain muscle, you have to exhaust the muscle, and it's going to hurt, and it does.
Don't you get the same feeling in terms of your point there about, oh, I walked in, I was impressed by all the machines, a lot of money must have gone into this. Do you not have that same view when you walk into any gym where I know Owen would kill me for calling his place a gym probably, so excuse me for saying that.
Fitness center.
I don't like using that word either because I feel like studios is more appropriate because otherwise you get lumped into the the gym scene. But my point is like, do you not have that same perspective when you walk into a traditional gym where they have machines everywhere? Oh, this is. Or is it? Yeah. Can you just elaborate on that? Because I'm wondering why that's different. Yeah.
It's not. It's not different. It's not different. I mean, when I used to work out at a gym, like when I was at USC, when I was in college, or when I was wherever, and I worked out at a gym, but there was a lot of people in there. There's mirrors everywhere in a normal gym. Yeah. And so I was impressed. I do. I want them to have equipment. I know that I want to do upper body, lower body, da 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 da, and so yes, no, going into a gym, a normal gym, that's important. What's fabulous about HIIT, or at least the way Lucy and Owen do it, because I don't know anybody else, there's no mirrors. It's spotless. And they only do, and even before the lovely COVID, they were only doing 2 people at a time. So Lucy would train me, and then Owen would train someone else. So there was only 2 people in their fitness center at one time ever. And because that's really important for me, because as you're working out really hard, you're going, and you're making all these noises. And I'm sure but the other person is too. But, what's really nice is you can wear whatever you want. You don't have to wear gym clothes. You don't have to, because you don't sweat. So it's like for an executive like me, I can, and I have a specific time. I go over, I'm dressed the way I always dress. I come back and I'm done. And what's remarkable and why I really liked how they did it was, like I said, it was very quiet. They tell you need to be quiet. You can't not be talking because there was one other person. Now with COVID, they just do one person at a time. But look, they're very impressive because, and why is someone impressive? What makes someone impressive? Why does one get the feeling that someone knows what they're doing? And that's called attitude. And so if you come in and I go, wait, we're going to do this. Wait, what, Lawrence? Are we going to do this podcast now? Okay. No, that's not what you want to see. You want to see someone that's passionate, that knows what they're talking about. That's how Owen and Lucy come off. They're very passionate. They know what they're talking about. They're in command.
They're going to love listening to this. Thank you for that. So what I'm getting from some of what you said there is, it's the perspective when you say, wow, this must have cost a lot of money. This is really impressive space with lots of lovely machines. It's because it's so spacious, it's so clean, it's spotless, and there's fewer people in there. So the perspective is very different to walking into another gym where they might have also lots of fancy machines, but then they have lots of sweaty people, mirrors, it's noisy, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Gold's Gym, I don't know if Gold's Gym is still around, but it's very impressive. Very, very impressive, I mean, and it's just that what's really sad, when I studied psychology in school. I have a degree in psychology and a degree in communications. And, I love to study the brain and I love health. And unfortunately, we get brainwashed into this is how you have to do an exercise. And so women have this feeling that I don't want to gain muscle, so I'm just going to do a lot of reps. And are you kidding? We don't have the testosterone to gain those kind of muscles. It's not going to happen. Don't worry. That's the least of your worries. You want to gain muscle. You want to be strong, especially when you get older. And that's my main concern. And if I were to move anywhere, I would be terrified if they did not offer HIIT. It is a miracle. It has the science behind it. I've read all the science behind it. McDougall, all those guys who write great books, and they're right. And what really bothers me is for young people, old people, whomever people, they don't know about this. they don't know about HIIT. It's like when Pilates first came out. I'm trying to remember, how did they say Pilates? They said it wrong because no one knew what it was. Pilates or something, right? And I immediately, because I did my research, and what people have to do is stop listening to what you think is right. Do your research and find out really what works, what you're looking for. If you're really looking to lose weight and you think that you're going to get that at a studio, think again. No, when you go to a studio to work out, a fitness studio or a gym, you're not going to lose weight. You have to go on a diet. You have to be healthy to lose weight. Now, working out will help you because it'll rev up your metabolism. But if you think you're going to lose 10 pounds because you're working out, think again. So it's about doing this, the science. It's the science behind HIIT. That's what's important. And in my opinion, that's what has to get out there, because that will convince people who are working out like I used to, 7 days a week, really hard, but not seeing the gains that you see with HIIT. Now, what I did with Lucy and Owen, with Lucy, I said, okay, I've been working out 1 time a week. I want to work out more. She said, okay, but only, you have to have time to recover. Now, I never did that, right? I did 7 days. I'm not kidding. 7 days, Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. So it was like, okay. So now what I do is I work out Monday and Friday. And then what I do is, how they have that bike, the Carol bike. So I do the Carol bike, which is, again, another, here people are like on their bike, no, just do Carol. It's horrible. Again, you do Mondays and Fridays when I do the Carol first. Wednesday, I just come in to do Carol, okay? On Monday when I come in, I get on the bike first, and are you familiar with Carol?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So when you do that resistance for just 10 seconds, you think you're going to die and you hate it. And then you cool down, then you do it again for 10. It's just as bad as working out. It's so awful, but you only have to do it, for 10 minutes. And the only bad part is for 10 seconds. But on Wednesdays, I do 2 20-second terrible resistance things. And it's hard. But what's remarkable is I keep going around to everybody, feel my legs, look how strong I am, feel my arms, and it's like, Sherry, enough. But these things are miracles, and it's because the science is behind it.
You know what? You're making me think of, so Discover Strength, for another high intensity training, personal training business, very successful. They have copy on their website that says something to the effect of, this is the workout for smart people. And that's what I'm thinking of when you're saying, I've done all the research, and that's really interesting to hear. So, sounds like you've read Body by Science and a few other books.
That's a good book. It's a great book.
Oh, fantastic book. That was the catalyst for this whole podcast, pretty much. Are you like that with everything? Do you research everything that you start to commit to? Is that how you're kind of wired?
Yes. I want to be careful how I say this. I used to be able to trust the news. I used to believe that the journalists were objective. And then I found out by doing my own research, not so much. I need to research everything myself. So when they say, look, I started in the effects world doing television commercials. And so when they advertise, and my clients were advertising agencies, right? So they would come to me, to my company, or not, wasn't my company, but the company that I was running, and they would say, I have this commercial for you to do for Levi's. And then I would, okay, that's fine. But then other clients would come, and I would find out what we're selling is not the truth. And that really scared me, because it's like advertising, the purpose is to market a product, to get that product out. In my day, you had to be careful. They were more honest about, this is good, that is bad, this is it. But today, I don't trust it. And I started not trusting because I was the recipient of knowing. I was doing a Libby's on the label, commercial like that. And I'm going, So, well, I shouldn't have said that, but it's not Libby's, but just as an example, you have to research. You cannot trust everything you hear. You have to research it yourself. Then yes, I research everything. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, you and I are very similar in that sense. I don't take much in the way of mainstream media or news
Oh,
seriously at all. You just can't. It's a most of it's a waste of time. Um,
mm-hmm.
so let's get back to your your experience with Live Oak and with HIIT. I'd love to hear more about your workout. So you talked about the Carol protocol that you do. What do you do currently in terms of the workout and the machines? What does that look like?
You know, what's remarkable is that, again, it's only 20 minutes.
Hmm.
It seems like forever. Don't, you know, it's like, when is it going to be over? When is it going to be over? Basically, I've never, basically, what they do is they do heavy, heavy weights, and then they time you. And then the excruciating part is you have to go so slow, right? On every rep is a disaster. And then when you know, I can't go anymore, the glycogen gone, everything is gone. And then they make you hold it for 10 seconds or whatever. So it's just torture. I mean, everyone hates it except for the results. So basically what I do is on Mondays, and when I come in on Mondays, she basically will do a combination of probably maybe 6 or 7 machines, and they're each about 3 minutes, I'd say. Each
Hmm.
machine
Hmm.
is like 3 minutes. So I do the typical, just like you do at a gym, an old-fashioned gym, although this is really a fitness center, in my opinion. Um, but because that's what it's about. It's about fitness. I mean, like when I first started going there, I said to Lucy, I'm exhausted. I can't do this. I mean, I'm walking home and I'm like, I did the exercise, but I'm walking back to the studio and she goes, what did you have for breakfast? I go, oh, no, no, I don't eat breakfast. She went, oh, now you do. Now you do. Because if you think you can work out in this intensity, you got to have carbohydrates. You got to have some protein. And after the workout, you have to have protein. What did you have, Sherry, after the protein? I mean, after the workout? I don't know, salad. She goes, yeah, no. So you have to change your eating habits. And I should have known better, but I don't like eating breakfast, but I do now because I'm gonna work out. It makes it so much easier. And you have to get a good night's sleep. I'm a big fanatic on sleep. So I
Hmm.
already know the importance of that. In my opinion, I am into health a lot because aging is not fun and getting older sucks. And anybody that thinks it doesn't, I'd like to know their secret. But if you're going to be old, and I am, then you better figure out what it takes to be healthy, unless you want to get to the point where someone has to help you into the shower. I'm not going there. I am not going to get old that way. No way. I'm not going to have some, oh, no, it's not happening.
Well, I think you look fantastic,
Thank
Sherry.
you.
But I appreciate your raw honesty and about how you're feeling and your experiences. That's so fascinating hearing you talk about how you felt about the workout and then the mistakes that you were making on the diet front. It's interesting because did you when you finished that workout? Because it's funny because I think some people will hear this and they'll think, oh, she's not enjoying the workout. She doesn't enjoy it. And then she leaves and she's really sore. Why the hell would she want to go back? What would you say to those people? Like, if you're
Look in the
feeling
mirror
like
and
that.
it's real simple. Look in the mirror. If you don't like those results, then you're doing it wrong. And if you like the results, keep doing it, because the fact of the matter is, in it if you want to, like, if you really want to build strength, if you really want to build muscle, then you have to go to exhaustion. Your muscles have to be, um, they have to be so, it's going to hurt, dude. It's going to hurt. But then when it's over, generally you don't feel sore. When it's over, now that I do the protein, I'm fine. But I've always had a good diet. Like, I don't eat a lot of junk food. I've always been like that because when I was growing up, um, even though they didn't know so much about health and all that, but my mother was a model. And so she was very vain and all this. And my father was an attorney. And so what my dad was like, oh, we have to have steak. We have to, but no fat, because he was a fanatic. No fat, God forbid. And my mother was like, okay, we're going to have fruits and vegetables. But I still had Hostess Twinkies. It was fine. I get it. Because no, if you deprive, it's not going to work. But
Hmm.
so I already knew that. But to me, the number one thing for health is sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, then your body, there's a little inner doctor when you go to sleep, and he comes out and he's going to fix all these things. And then if you work out, then you're training your muscles. So no, are you going to like it? No, you're going to like the results. And if you really work out hard, which is the way I work out, really, really hard, where I think I'm going to die, the results are amazing. You cannot deny the results, period. I've been doing this forever.
Mm-hmm.
I
What
mean,
kind
I
of
was
results
working
have
up,
you had? Could
oh my,
you be more specific? Yeah.
absolutely. My legs are so strength, strength, strength. So I go around to everybody, touch my arm, touch my legs. They're hard as rocks. And I'm 73 years old. Let us not
Wow.
forget that. That's,
Yeah, I did not think you were 73.
oh
Do you
my
know what I was going to
God.
ask you, but I felt like it's too rude to
Yeah,
ask an
no, I
80-year
know
old.
people don't like to talk about. See, what's really stupid about age? Let me just say
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
here's what people do. In the world, when people say, "How old are you?" what they're really asking is, "How many years have you been on this planet?" That's what
Yeah.
they're asking. They're not, so they're saying, "How old are you?" They're not asking, "How old is your brain?
Mm.
How old are your muscles?" So I had a brain scan done
Mm.
because I had a lot of anxiety
Mm.
and terrible anxiety after menopause. That's another thing we don't talk about. It's like, who makes these rules up? But anyway, after I went through menopause, I had all this anxiety, which I never had before. And so it was like, okay, this is not good. And when you have a lot of anxiety, so I went and did the science on that, right? And so what I did was, long story short, I read again, research, people research. That's what you have to do. Don't take anyone's word for anything. Just do your own research, and it's there. Almost all, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I went uh, there was a book that I read from Dr. Amen, and it was change your life, change your brain. Change your brain, change your life. And that's me, because I believe in the brain. So I went to his thing, I did all of the whatever, and now they have a 3D scan of your brain. Okay? And so they show me, I won't go through the whole thing. So they show me the picture of my brain, and it's all lit up. And I'm going, so what is that? And they go, yeah, that's the anxiety all over. I go, okay, so that's not cute. And they said, okay, so what you have to do is you don't care, TMS. It's another thing that I studied and I did, and it works for depression, and it works. It's a brain thing,
Okay.
transcranial. Yeah. Anyway, so then they show me a scan of they show me this scan of another brain. And they said, do you think that this brain looks like your brain? I go, well, outside of the lit up part everywhere. Yeah, it looks like my brain. And they go, that's the brain of a 40-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the brain of a 30-year-old. And can you see your brain is the same? So I have a young brain. So when people ask your
When was
age,
this scan? Like, how
a
old were
couple
you when you
years
had the
ago.
scan? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I'd say it was 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And so when people say, how old are you? What they want to know is, how many linear years have you been on the planet? And I say I'm 73, but my brain is young. You want to have vitality. And if you don't want to get old, then you have to have vitality. And what you have to have is strength. Because if you can't move, if your joints hurt, I have a slight curvature of the brain. Yeah, there we
Spine?
go. Of the spine. Yeah, I have slight scoliosis, right? I
Sure.
always had a back problem. Oh, my back. Oh, my lower back. My whole life. And I've done everything. I wear a magnet. I do all of this crazy stuff, right? Never in my life have I been without pain on my lower back until I started with Lucy. Now, because of the back exercises, it's a miracle. I think it's criminal that back machines are not into every medical doctor's office.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
here.
it's critical.
Mm.
Makes me
Yeah.
really upset.
And that's the Medex lumbar extension they've got you on, I assume.
That one,
Yeah.
and there's 2 or 3 that you do back, lower back,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember anything.
That's okay.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, so I'm a producer. That's really what I do, even though I run companies. I'm really a producer. And the reason I think I'm bragging now, and I don't like bragging, but I think one of the things that has helped me be a good producer is that I have OCD, right? So I'm like, okay, I've got to do this, and I make lists, and I make that, I research everything. And so there is no doubt, 100%, that my back no longer hurts, and that's only because I've been working out on their machines. Not just the ARX dude, but they have a few that are just torture. But no back pain? Who can say that? No joint pain? I have no pain. And my neck used to really hurt. So they have this neck extension thing, right? One of their machines. And I went, look, I always, my, it was like my neck can't hold up my head. My neck can't hold up my head. It's too heavy, this bowling ball here. And it's not going to, what am I going to do? Yeah, right. And that's it. That's a ticket. So you do the neck exercises. I have no neck pain. These are miracles. So I get upset that HIIT is not, even though I don't believe in mainstream, but it's not mainstream, because what will happen is this fitness center, this fitness idea of HIIT would wipe out all the other gyms. That's what would happen, because the results cannot be denied. All you have to do is look.
Yeah, it's you make a really good point, and there's a few things I want to go back to on what you said there, but HIIT probably selects a certain person because of what it asks you for in terms of effort, right?
Yes.
But I've had this conversation numerous times on a podcast. People always ask me, why isn't HIIT bigger? Why isn't it mainstream? The science shows it's the most effective, most efficient form of exercise, and I would obviously completely agree with that. Obviously, now, but it does require a lot of effort, and I think it does. So I think right now, during where we are now, September 2020, obviously we're, I don't know what's happening where you are, but I'm based in Ireland right now. I'm from the UK. And in Ireland and the UK, we're seeing further lockdowns, further curfews put in place, unfortunately, depending on how you think about that. And, that's obviously quite sad, but then it's also happening in the US in certain places. And I think it's actually been quite good in a way for the kind of high intensity training boutique industry.
Yes, right.
And this is going to sound kind of mean, but a lot of other gyms have gone out of business, a lot of other competitors in fitness. And that's because the HIIT model actually stands up very well in this situation. It's one-on-one typically, or small group. It's clean, it's intimate. It's always exhibited those traits pre-COVID. All these restrictions and policies and social distancing is kind of, much of it has already been kind of part and parcel of high intensity personal training. So I think, and again, this is a conversation I've had numerous times on the show, is I think that the owners and operators in high intensity training are very well positioned to succeed in a kind of medium and long term. And in fact, I speak to studio owners practically every day. And the majority of them are seeing a very strong return to studio, where they can legally operate and open, obviously. And so I have a long way of saying I have a lot of faith that they're going to see a lot of growth in our sector specifically over the next couple years. But I never think it's going to be mainstream anymore.
You bring up a really good point. Probably one of the reasons, but see, I just know I could convince people, but I know you're right. If you're going in there and you're just going to not want to really work out and give it the intensity, then no, you're not going to like it. But then if you're going to go to a normal gym, okay, so if at a gym that I've worked out at my whole life until I went to HIIT, which is a fitness center, which I really think there's a distinction, because they really care about your health, what you eat before you work out, what you eat after you work out. Did you get a good night's sleep? They care about that, or at least Lucy and Owen do. And so at a regular gym, they don't have trainers, or even if you have a trainer, they're not going to spot, maybe when you want to have a spotter, right? But they're not going to push you. So you're correct. Most people, you bring up a good point. I keep thinking I could convince anyone to do HIIT. Yeah. Doesn't matter if they're children, if they're adults, but you're wrong. You're right. Because if you're not willing to go through the pain to get the results, you're not going to like it. But if you want results, that's it. Go ahead.
To be fair, there are a lot of people that do high intensity training that don't. It sounds like you train to muscle failure when you train.
Yes, right.
And a lot of people don't. A lot of, I speak to a lot of owners and operators who work with lots of clients, and maybe the majority actually don't get to muscle failure, and that's not the end of the world, because
I didn't know that.
And it's not the end of the world, because I don't know if you're familiar with this, but some research was done quite a while back. It was probably like 10 years ago now. I think it was like 2013, which basically let me just think about this for a second. So it measured the genetic change, the genetic response in, I think it was two groups, I want to say. There was a group of young men. I'm just going to make some of this up because I can't remember all the details. But say young men, and then there was an older group of older men. The mean age in the older group was 68, and I think in the younger group it was like early 20s. They put them both through a strength training regimen, and it wasn't even anywhere close, from what I remember in terms of the methods, it wasn't anywhere close to the intensity of high intensity training. They weren't training to muscle failure. It was multiple sets, so it probably wasn't that intense.
Right.
But they measured that. What was really interesting about the study, and this is something that Doug McGuff talks about a lot, and I actually had one of the study authors on the show a long time ago, Dr. Simon Milov.
Right.
And what they measured was changes in, oh man, can't believe I'm forgetting this now, but it was like a genetic change. That's it. They measured something like 196 different genes, and the expression in those genes improved in the older group to the same degree. So their genes were the same expression as those in the younger group. So they had effectively reversed aging with that.
Right.
Study,
I
right?
read that. Yes,
Okay.
you're right.
I totally butchered it. That's probably why you only just clicked for you.
No,
So,
I read that study. It's a miracle.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's the science. They proved it.
Yeah.
And you did bring up a good point. And the point is, you don't have to, I guess I work out really hard. And the reason is, it's not cheap and I want the results.
Mhm.
And you probably don't have to work out as hard as I do. And you'll still get good results. But I do believe, and I've read a lot of data on this, and the study that you're pointing to is, I've read that study. And right, what happens is, or at least I believe, that this can absolutely help you reverse aging. I mean, look, I'm not going to be ever, 20 again or any of that. But if you can reverse aging, I mean, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to, yeah. I just want to be healthy. I just really want to be healthy. And in order to be healthy, you have to have good fitness. You just do. You have to be fit. How do you get fit? Look, Arnold Schwarzenegger did not do HIIT. These people that are, obviously the gyms work. Obviously, that's fine. Pilates is great. Gyrotonics is great. You will absolutely get results. I did, but not like HIIT. I mean, that's what's remarkable. I wish I could have taken a picture of, pictures of me at 20 and 30 and for all the way up. I got results, but not like this. And I'm 73. I'm in better shape now, this is the truth, than I was when I was young. Period.
That's awesome.
And that's HIIT. But you are right. I work out till I think I'm going to die, until the muscle is completely fatigued. But why not? Now, it's only 20 minutes.
Yeah, let me be really clear. I'm not saying. I mean, what you do is optimal, I believe. And there's a fair amount of evidence to suggest that training to failure, or at least near to failure, is like a catch-all for the adaptations we're looking for, right? In terms of, there's a vast list of improvement of benefits that are stimulated. Bone mineral density, muscle mass, strength, all the rest of it. You don't need me to go through it all. But I think the point is that to know that just by engaging in resistance training, you're going to get a lot of benefits, as shown by that study. Then if a client comes into a studio and we can't push them to muscle failure, it's not the end of the world. Right. And as a trainer, I think it's our responsibility to do our best to get the most out of that individual and try and get them closer to that point of muscle failure. But I think sometimes people think if you don't get someone to muscle failure, it's a failure on the trainer's part, but that's not true.
No, it's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, doing something, at least on HIIT, as everybody says, doing something is better than doing nothing. But if you're just going to do something, do it on HIIT. I mean, if you're, okay, so you're not going to go to muscle failure the way I do. But when you get, like what they do is every 12 sessions, you get on that ARX and they test. They're testing you. Did your strength increase? And if it doesn't increase, at least you want it to stay the same, right? You don't want it to decrease. But I want mine to continually increase, right? And they test it. But anything you're going to do at HIIT is going to be better than working out at a normal gym. It just will, because doing reps, which is what even when I started at a normal gym, not when I was 15, but take it like when I was in my 30s, I said, look, I really want to gain muscle. And they said, okay, you have to do heavy weights and, fewer reps, which I did. And so, but women, like I said, well, I don't want to gain muscle. And that always just like cracks me up. Like, you really think, yeah, right, that's going to happen. We wish we could gain. But anyway, so when you do a lot of reps, but they're not heavy, and you do 3 or 4 sets, you're going to get some results in a normal gym. Okay, that's what I got, some results. But then when you do HIIT, I think you're right. Even if you do, maybe I go, let's say that there's 100%, and you go to muscle failure, which is 100%. Just say that. Maybe I go to 90%. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd like to pretend I go to 100%. I don't know. I'd have to ask Lucy. I mean, it sure feels like I do. I'm certainly in enough pain that I do. The burn hurts so much. But I bet you if you only went to 50%, that's better than 50% at HIIT, at high intensity training, is better than working out 50% at a gym. It just is. And again, Sherry, how do you know the results? You don't have to take my word for it. Just do it and look in the mirror. That's all you have to do. And how do you feel? How do you feel? Are your joints better? Is your bone density better? These are important things that I know people don't want to learn about it. It's boring. Because I have an interest in it. It makes it easier for me to read all these books because it's real interesting. No offense, because you're young. But yeah, young people's like, oh, well, it'll be okay. No, you're going to age and you're not going to want to have aches and pains. Mm-hmm. And if you do HIIT, not only will you gain strength, which is what it's all about, muscle strength, but you're not going to have the aches and pains. It's really important. I mean, I think it's critical for health to do HIIT.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
I wanted to step back and just refer to something you mentioned earlier. You've mentioned twice now how important sleep is. Mm-hmm. I'd love to hear, what's your kind of sleep hygiene, like your rituals like for sleep? Like, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, to me, again, I've done a lot of research because I love doing that. So if you want to be healthy, and who doesn't, but it's a lot of work. And so to be healthy, people think, okay, it's about diet and it's about exercise. And that's absolutely true. If you want to be healthy and you think you can eat crap all day long, not going to work. You can have a little bit of fun. I mean, I'm not I eat anything, but I try to keep my diet so that it's at least clean as much as I'm willing to do. But am I going to not have a hot fudge sundae? If I want one, I will have that. Absolutely. Deprivation does not work. It just doesn't. But you have to not gain weight. And when it comes to exercise, if you want to keep your, everybody, all right. But to me, the number one thing for health is sleep. What does that mean? That means that you have to get into REM. You have to understand deep sleep. You have to understand light sleep. I know this may not sound like a lot of fun. This is your body, people. This is your body. This you got to work with till you die. You want it to be old no, you want to be in good shape. What do you need to do? You need to get sleep. If you don't get sleep, how is the body going to refresh? How is it going to go? The little doctor comes out and he goes, okay, you're here. We got to do. So what do? I make it a point that at 10 o'clock, I'm going to go to sleep. And look, I have a hard time sleeping. Everyone I know has a hard time sleeping. We don't do the way the body is made. The body is made to go to sleep when the sun goes down and wake up when the sun wakes up. No, the melatonin understands what it's supposed to do, except that we go, I'm going to watch TV. And so then the blue light comes and the blue light says, oh, blue light's good, except and it's not bad for you, not horrible, except for you sleep. So blue light on our computers, blue light, that's not going to help you sleep. So everybody complains about their sleep, but they're not willing to do what it takes to get a good night's sleep. You have to get a Fitbit. You have to, look, I think I get great night's sleep, and then I look at the Fitbit and I go, oh, I was awake that many times? That's not good. So again, what is my protocol? My protocol is no more TV, no more looking at blue light, turn that off. They say 3 hours, I can't do that. So I'll, do it an hour before. Again, you don't have to kill yourself to be healthy. So what's important is that you get enough sleep. And as kids, they need more sleep. As we get older, we need less sleep. If we can get at least 7 hours, If we can get 7, we don't have to do 8. If you can get 7, but it's got to be good REM and deep sleep. So what you have to do is you've got to get some kind of an Apple or a Fitbit or something that tells you how much sleep did you really have. And so what I do now, look, I take all sorts of crazy organic stuff because I will not take a sleeping pill. But if it came to that, I would take a sleeping pill.
Mm-hmm.
If I could not get enough sleep, and I don't like doing meds, because I don't trust the meds, but if I was using all the crazy stuff that I use, if that didn't work, I would do a sleeping pill. That's how important sleep is. The
Do you
inner
wear
doctor
blue blockers? Sorry
pardon
to
me?
cut you off.
Yeah, I
Do you
have
wear blue?
I absolutely wear blue blockers. I do the whole thing. I mean,
Okay.
when the little doctor comes in, when you sleep to repair your body, he doesn't have to worry about all the blue light that came in. So get the goggles. They're simple because I'll cheat and I'll look at my phone because we're all addicted to our phones. So I put on the yellow glasses, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not willing to compromise that at all. So get the glasses. And by the way, they don't have to only be yellow. Now they've come out with glasses. I don't have it right here, but clear glasses, and they don't have the yellow, and you just put them on. You watch TV. Look at your computer. It's not the end of the world. So
Yeah.
that's my protocol. And I get up in the morning.
I recently sneaked a pair that my missus is now using, and because they're like, she's looking at me with my kind of yellow, weird
Yeah, yeah,
looking glasses, thinking I'm a total nerd.
totally.
And so she found a pair which were recommended by Whitney Cummings, and because Whitney Cummings is super cool, it meant that she was more convinced to buy or wear a pair.
Sure.
And I was like, great, if that's what it takes.
That's
So
that.
we bought her a set, and because she, we have a 10-month-old baby, and
Oh,
so it's been a, for her in terms of sleep deprivation, it's been a
oh
real
yeah.
challenge last 10 months. So I'm really concerned about her because I want her to get as much sleep as possible. And we have to make sacrifices at certain stages of our lives, right? And so we got her these blue blockers, and I now make sure she's always wearing them, if she's like, because they're the clear ones, so they kind of
They
look
are the clear.
cool,
Yeah,
you
I have
know?
that. That's what I wear.
Okay, cool. And
But the
so
other
she's
thing
like watching stuff.
the
Mhm.
other thing that's really, really important for sleep, because this is how the brain works, and the brain regulates, the melatonin regulates what, okay, so what you need to do is you have to say to the melatonin, okay, I want to go to sleep now. And the melatonin says, well, then I need it to be dark because that's my cue that you now to start getting you tired. So you have to sleep in a pitch black or as dark as room as you can. Then, and I'm sorry, I mean, you have to do that. You have to have blackout curtains. That's what I
Okay.
have.
Nice.
Absolutely. And then the other part is when you wake up in the morning, you want to tell the melatonin, okay, go away. I need to get up now. So you need bright light. So you need to open everything up and have bright light. These are not hard things to do, but that's how your body knows, okay, now I need to wake up. And a lot of people take melatonin pills. They don't work for me. I think they work, I'm trying to remember, 30% of the time. They work for about 30% of the people, not for me. I take other silly stuff. And if you just follow simple protocols, like I said, wear the glasses, you can get them clear. You don't have to do like you and I had the orange ones, the crazy ones. Now they have the clear ones. Those are just as good. Do that, sleep in and oh, the other thing, your room must be cool. You cannot sleep in a hot room. Your body temperature goes down. It needs a cool room. So don't have these big heavy blankets, not good. And so and that's not hard to do. These are not hard things to do to be healthy.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And just to touch on something you said earlier about brain health, I'm sure you know this, but just for those listening, resistance training is incredibly beneficial for cognitive health. So that's why, well, I'm guessing that's why one of the reasons why your brain and looked in, well, except for the anxiety, looked like it was in great shape, right?
Right.
And I did a podcast with a long time ago, Teresa Leo Ambrose, who is a scientist who actually explores cognitive health, and she's done a lot of research on how exercise improves cognitive health, and it's fascinating just how systemic the benefits of resistance training are, and how much more we're learning about that as time goes on, which is fascinating and just compels me to want to be even more evangelical about it and become more passionate about it myself. And yeah, just wanted to mention that because I think
Well,
that's responsible for that.
it
Yeah.
is. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is the only exercise when I'm talking about anti-aging.
Hmm.
Anti-aging means the brain and the body, right? Okay. They have proven with HIIT, like you said, they've proven the cognitive, and look, my when they looked at my brain, I hope they're right. I will not get dementia, and don't forget, dementia covers a lot of things. Alzheimer's is one part of dementia, right? Alzheimer's, not just one part, but the big thing is dementia. That's what we want to combat that. And you can combat that, the cognitive theory, with HIIT. And this is the first time they've ever seen an exercise actually scientifically proved that it's anti-aging. And that means that the brain is also, because everything deteriorates, the brain deteriorates as well, just like all of our muscles do, everything, like our heart, everything. And if we don't want it to deteriorate to the point where we're like an invalid or these old people in wheelchairs, no way, dude. You got to keep your brain healthy. And HIIT does that. It's the only exercise that they've proven scientifically that helps cognitive and which is anti-aging.
Yeah. Awesome. I wanted to jump back to, I guess, your perspective as a client of Live Oak Strength, and just again to develop a deeper understanding of you and how, I guess, our colleagues in high intensity training get a better understanding of how you think about this stuff. So obviously personal training isn't in everyone's budget, right? Can you talk about how much you pay for personal training and how you feel about the value and the price? I'd just love to hear your perspective on how you think about that stuff.
Okay. I can't remember exactly what they charge. I think it's like, is it like should I say this?
That is but that right there is just so telling, because you don't even think about how much it costs. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm guessing it's probably like 70. I spoke to Owen about this recently. I think they charge about $75 a session, but it is public information on their website.
Okay, I think then I think it's $100 a session.
Okay, got it.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you all a question. What would you pay for your health? What would you pay? If I said to you, you have a choice. You can deteriorate. Your brain can, as you age, you can deteriorate. Your brain will deteriorate. Your body will deteriorate. You'll have to go to assisted living. Is that what you want? Or do you want to be healthy? How much are you going to pay for it? How much are you going to pay not to have a heart attack? How much are you going to pay so that your brain doesn't age the way that most people's do? What would you pay for that? I would pay anything. And I get that it's expensive. And I understand that a lot of people cannot afford it. Now, that's why Owen and Lucy bought that new machine, that new I can't remember what it's called, the ARX. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, ARX, and so, so you could, not the normal one that I do, but they bought a new gigantic guy.
They've got the Alpha and the Omni.
That's him. That's him. Yeah, that's him. And so then, according to them, you can get on that by yourself and do it. And so you can do most of the exercises on that thing, that big machine, and probably get the same results. I need a trainer. I want someone every rep. Sherry, put your shoulders down, breathe. And here I've been doing it forever. Still, every rep, Lucy is watching my form. And that's what's so important, because when you go to a normal gym for years, I'm working out, the trainer's not saying, it's 1, he's counting 2, 3. No, they look at, Sherry, you're breathing. Don't use your neck. And now that we have to wear the masks, she can't see my face because she's going, relax your face. Because I'm like, no. She goes, don't do that. So that's critical to me. And but if you can't afford it, I understand that. It's a lot of money. To me, nothing is as important as your health. But if you can't afford it, maybe you can just go 1 time a week, because that really helps too. Or use that machine. I don't know how much that machine they charge for that, because they're not training. You just book time. I don't know if they just got the machine. You know what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So you can do it on your own, right?
Yeah. They're offering a self-service feature, I think. Owen's working on that. Hopefully he doesn't mind me saying that.
Well, yeah, because they just got that new machine in, and that's what they were telling me, because some people say, once you do it, once you start working out there, I don't care if it's painful or not, you're not going to stop. You see the results in the mirror. I mean, that's all you need. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, it's a lot of pain. Maybe you don't go as hard as I do, but you're probably not as old as I am. So but if you can't afford it, then do the what did you call it? Whatever it is. Use that machine, and at least you're getting HIIT. You're getting resistance training.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. Yeah, it's, I just think because a lot of the I guess some people who hear about high intensity training services, obviously a lot of the time it's the studios are targeting higher income individuals because they can charge a higher price. They can build a more profitable business. And so it makes sense to target that higher income sort of demographic a lot of the time. But I think a lot of the time, people who maybe aren't part of that group, or even the trainers who maybe aren't on a high income, don't necessarily understand why would someone pay X amount for a personal training session. And I
Yep.
think you said it well right there. How much money do you put on preventing heart disease and anti-aging and all these things. So I feel like you're obviously really well educated, as you've been talking about on this podcast. You invest a lot of time in learning about the science. How much of that education has been done by the guys at Live Oak as well? Because I'm guessing they've drip fed stuff to you over time as well.
Oh, they're the ones that turned me on to all these books. They're
Okay.
experts. They
Mm.
are experts. And not only are they experts, I mean, I didn't know about these books. I've done a lot of, I mean, I didn't know about HIT. And like I said, it was just an advertisement that came up at that other place that I didn't like. That was saying, "Oh, I'll give you a free this," and I figured, why not try it? And then I realized it was fabulous, except I didn't like that studio, and so that's what. So, um, you know, I don't know how to. I don't know how to answer that. It is expensive. I wish it weren't, but it is. And you see all the machines, and you see everything they have there. I wish everybody could do it. I really do.
Mhm. Well,
But
I
I
mean,
don't.
they can. They can. I mean, well,
Yeah,
they can. I mean, for instance, I train at home, and I typically use body weight and resistance bands and free weights.
there
So
you
I do
go.
high intensity strength training. I do very similar to you, single sets of muscle failure. I don't have fancy medics at home, although I am opening a studio in about a week, which has the medics machines. So we have
Really?
that. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So that's a new business we're starting here in Galway in Ireland, and very exciting times. Um, but I've trained at home for the longest time, and so everyone. I mean, for instance, dancing around a bit here, but when I first started this podcast, it was a lot more generic. It was more about health and fitness and business and productivity. And now we're a little bit more focused. And I really try and make sure that every episode solves the problems for the high intensity training studio owner, as those are people I serve and the people I provide products to,
Right.
services. And but we still obviously go off on these other tangents. They're still super interesting to the studio owner. They still want to know about the latest exercise science, for example, and personal training and stuff like that. But I have a lot of listeners still. I'm sure some have probably departed since I've become more niche, but I still have a lot of people that are just really passionate about HIIT, and they do it at home, and they're in amazing shape, and they're super healthy, and a lot of them are like older people, and they just look incredible, and a lot of them are, I have so much admiration for, and they're mentors to me. So there's a lot of people who definitely cannot afford, personal training and HIIT, who can still do this stuff either at home or at the local gym.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
the point is, it's a resistance training. So, like what you're saying, it's like it sounds ridiculous, but I'm lazy. I'm inherently lazy. But so that's why I have to have a regimen, but you can absolutely do this at home. I mean, you have to have the willpower, which I'm not big on, or let's not say willpower. You have to have the discipline. Let's use that word instead. That when you have the bands that you have and the weights that you have to say to yourself, because you're not going to have a trainer, you can do all that. It's about high intensity. So what does that mean? Heavy weights, doing it slow. That's simple. You can do it yourself at home. And you know what? That's a really interesting thing. You could probably teach a lot of people. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but like if you just did it on the internet, if you just
Yeah.
just if someone had, okay, come to my site, and then every day you can train with your own thing at home. That's how important this is. So
Mm.
yeah, you don't have to have all the fancy machines, which I love. And I love the fact that Owen and Lucy are nutritionists as well. They turn me on to, I now use the hydrant, Do you know what that is?
I
So
don't actually.
yeah. So like, you know how important being hydrated is. Yeah,
Sure.
so of course. But water, pain in the neck. I'm not gonna, force myself. But yeah, not
I'm terrible
really.
for it. Yeah.
Me too. It sucks. And so I saw them pouring something in. I go, what do you? There you go. What's that in the bottom of it?
Oh no, it's just a glass.
Oh, it's
It's
just a
just part of the
glass.
glass. Yes,
Oh,
you,
okay.
you alarmed me there. I was like, "What is that in the
It
bottom?" But
looks
it's
like, it looks like a strawberry or something.
it does. Yeah.
Doesn't it? Okay, so I'm watching them, and so what they do is there's this thing called hydrant. I strongly suggest it. I got it from them.
Yeah.
And so what it is, it's electrolytes, yeah? And you put it in your water, and there's no taste to it. I mean, I get the grapefruit, there's 3 or 4 flavors, but it's better than plain water. What's better about, again, I did the science on that. We have to have electrolytes. This hydrant, I don't know, it's cheap. It's not expensive. You do one a day, and it's way better for you. So what my point is, they turned me on to that. They turned me on to the right website. I was taking like 1 million vitamins, Probably most of them I'm pissing out, and they're not even worth it. But they will tell you. Like now she turned me on to, because sometimes I can't do the protein after a workout. I have a something to do at work. So now I can't think of what it's called. Orgain. Orgain comes in this little protein box. So it's this little protein thing that they turned me on to. And so now it tastes so good, but it's got a lot of protein and carbohydrates. How did I know about that? From Lucy and Owen. So they're not only trainers for the HIIT, but they're nutritionists.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
they've turned me on to which I didn't have here. Little Miss Expert here. I didn't even know about any of that. That's really critical too. The hydrant is good. The Orgain protein drinks, all that kind of stuff. They're the ones that turn me on to it.
Yeah, and again, just to clarify, I am not for a moment dissuading you from continuing your personal training, Sherry, and doing it yourself at
Oh,
home.
and forget it. No way.
I actually think I think there's enormous value, obviously, in personal training, in being supervised by an expert, not only during the training and providing all the instruction and the form and all the rest of it, but also been providing the more tangential stuff like the diet and sleep hygiene and different, all the kind of expertise and knowledge that goes into optimizing recovery and stuff like that. So no, I think if someone can afford it, I think everyone should invest in personal training 100%. I think it's massively valuable. So I just want to make that very, very clear, because I sort of started to feel like I sounded like I was trying to dissuade you from.
No, 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 no. No, and so like I said, for me personally, you can't dissuade me because I'm lazy. If I have
Sure,
to do it at
yeah.
home by myself, ain't gonna happen. I have never worked out without a trainer. I'm too lazy. I'm not gonna do it. It's not fun. I don't
Especially
like
at that
working.
intensity, right? You need someone to take.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, even with my Pilates, which is like, the Pilates table that I had real easy to do it yourself, I'm not gonna do it myself. It's not
Mm.
going to happen. I'm too lazy. And so for me, having a trainer that I go to that watches every little thing I do, that's priceless.
Powerful word. Um, I'm curious. You're a super busy person. And it sounds like, obviously your time is very valuable, right? So when you go for a session, how much are you like, because I imagine this is how I imagine you show. You sort of walk into the studio and you're like, right, come on guys, let's go. Or do you have a little bit of small talk, or do they kind of get you to, come on, Sherry, let's crack on, stop chatting, we need to start the workout? What's the dynamic when you walk in the studio?
Well, first of all, one of their rules is you have to be silent because generally there's probably someone working out, right? And even with COVID, don't get me started on that. Don't even. By the way, off that you can cut this out. You can cut this when you edit it.
Sure,
We've got a
sure.
few people working in Ireland, so we're doing distributed development, and we have a few people in Ireland that I was just
Very
remembering.
cool.
Yeah, and some in the UK. Anyway, so yes, I'm going to chat with Lucy. Because I'm a fanatic on time and terrified of being late, so I'm always way early, and so. Um, so Lucy and I chat. Yes, we chat. And then the first thing I do is I get on the Carol bike, and then you can't talk. And then when I'm done with the 10 minutes of that, I start my training. They don't, there's nothing, we'll chat in between, but she'll say, okay, stop, stop taking, they know, okay, you're wasting time here, get on the next one, because, like, come on, Sherry, you got to go one to one to one. So that's the other thing that they're really good at. You can chat, but no, they don't have to make me do anything. It's like you're there for 20 minutes. You might as well, you paid for it, get the results. So yeah, well, I love Lucy. I really do. She's just great. And Owen is too. They're great. And so
Oh,
yes, we do chat. Yeah, they're fab, you know.
yeah. Yeah, they're very, very good friends of mine. I've spent quite a bit of time with them. Obviously, I talk to Owen a fair bit, on Zoom and things like that. But we also meet every year at a conference, and we
Right.
always have a great time. And we're always saying, "Oh, we're going to come over to you guys and spend some time at your place, and you need to come to Ireland." But I guess just being busy makes that quite difficult. But then with
Right.
all of this stuff happening with the flight restrictions and COVID, it just makes it even more complicated. But
Right.
we'll make it happen eventually. I've always wanted to come and visit your part of the world, so
Yeah.
hopefully at some point we'll do that. Um, awesome. Okay, so what? Okay, so that's really interesting what you said there. So it's like trying to strike that balance, isn't it? With I'm thinking about because I do some personal training as well, and obviously a lot of my listeners do. And it's trying to strike that balance between like building rapport, having some small talk, but then being like bullish about the routine and about not wasting time and about you getting the most out of it.
Right.
So that's an interesting thing that I think is like it's like a balancing act because I've found myself the problem with too much small talk is yes, you're wasting the client's time, but you're also likely to have a less productive workout or shorter
Right.
workout or infringe on the next client's time
That's
slot.
right.
So it's almost like that's the that's the thing, and you can't obviously ruin the experience of someone else. So it's just you just have to be succinct in your chit chat and get straight to it.
Yeah, and also, you don't, because it's high intensity, you don't want to rest too much. So you want to go to the
Mm.
next machine fast. And so, like I'll cheat because it's like, oh God, this, oh, this hurts so much. Sherry, get onto the next machine. Oh God, okay. So they're great that way. They're disciplined, but they'll do a little bit of chit chat. But it's like they also know you got to do, and not only because of the time restriction, but because of your muscles. You want to get, you got to, no resting, no resting. Let's get on. Come on, come on. So they have the balance of the chit chat. I mean, so like I'm only there. How do I know them if they don't like talking? Because we chit chat a little bit, but then we work out
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to, I guess, end this section of the podcast here by just asking you kind of a final question on this, which is, what do you think that the high intensity training studio businesses out there can do to attract more people just like you? I mean, you've already given, I think, a lot of information on the things that you look for and the reasons why you love doing this and going to continue to do this for the foreseeable. But is there anything else that comes to mind? Anything else you've experienced through being a client of Live Oak, which you haven't mentioned, which you think all personal training service providers should be offering or doing?
What they should be offering and doing is health. This is what it's about. It's about health, and all of us want to be healthy. And so, how do you become healthy? The three things we talked about: sleep, diet, and exercise. And if you understand diet, it doesn't mean restriction, it means what do you eat? It's really nutrition. So I could say, sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Maybe that's a better way to say it. But that's a lot of what I've got from them. Like I said, I'm just not going in there training, which I do really hard because why not? That's what you want. But they turn you on to Sherry. The reason that um, were feeling crummy after you left is because you didn't eat breakfast. You didn't have carbohydrates. And then you didn't eat the protein. That's important. You didn't, the first thing she said, when I go in every session, how did you sleep? Did you get enough sleep? Did you eat? Sherry, I told you, you have to start having an egg. So those kinds of things are critical. And if you don't care about health, then don't go. One of the things that, look, marketing, whether we like it or not, runs the world. And so that's it. I mean, it doesn't matter if we like it or not. It's about marketing. It's about brands. It's about faith in what you're being shown. And advertising is a little tricky because, like I said, I did too many commercials. And it was too like, oh, this is not true, and I've got to say that it is. And that's kind of crummy, but I'm making a commercial, so it's not my problem. But it is my problem. And so, like, for example, when I was making TV commercials, I said, I'm not going to make a Coca-Cola commercial. I'm not going to do it. Now, other people in my studio could, and we won awards for our Coke commercials. I don't care. There's certain things I'm really against, and I won't cross the line. But so how do they get their name out there? How do they get the brand of hit? You have to market it. You have to open it up, and it sucks. But that's what you have to do. And how do you do it? How did I find it? I don't like the advertising, the pop-ups. I don't like any of the internet advertising. None of us do. That's because commercials aren't interesting. Hopefully the ones I made in my past were, but so they need to market the product more. They need to get the name out there more. They need to explain the science. But you're right. The market that can, you have to figure out what's your demographic. Unfortunately, the demographic is everyone out there, little people, children, all the way up to my age, old people. This is your demographic. Yes, it costs money. But if you don't have the money, then at least learn how to do it from a trainer. And then try to do it at home, and maybe you can do it interactive, on a website. But to me, if you have the money and health is important to you, then you do it at a studio where they watch every little thing you do. If you don't care about health, then don't do it.
Sherry, you talked during this, you mentioned about how you're always bragging about your biceps and your leg muscles, right, to people, which I love. I love stuff like that. I'm just, as a result of that and a result of you talking about how sore you feel, how good that workout is, do people say to you, I mean, do you generate many, I guess, referrals to Live Oak Strength? And do people say to you like, what have you done? Like, how come you're in such good shape? Like, where are you training? And then can you talk to me about how those conversations go? And have you generated many referrals for Live Oak Strength?
I really haven't, because I don't mean, right? We do distributed development, which means I'm not meeting a lot of people. Distributed development means I've got people in Ireland, I've got people in Australia, I've got people all over the world, which is a pain in the neck, and I'll never do that again. It's too hard, especially with COVID now. But what I do, and I'm sure Lucy will tell you this, the minute they have a new client coming in, I'm on them. So I'll go, oh, have you started yet? Okay, let me tell you why you need to do this. I've been working out my whole life. This, I do my thing. So that's the only kind of, like, I would say, referral. If I met someone, if someone said to me, oh my God, Sherry, you're in such good shape. It's like, yeah, you think this comes naturally? This is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. And if you don't care about it, don't do it. But if you care about this, if you care about your health, if you care about aches and pains as you get older, so then every time they have someone come in, there's me, I'm right on, I'm telling the new client, you have to do this. You're not going to like it, but it's for your health. You have to do it. If you don't care about your health, if you don't care, look, we have a problem here in America. I don't know about Europe,
same problem.
Okay, we're obese. We got a lot of obese people. Obese. I would say, and this is not nice, I would say, scientifically, I don't know the number, but I wouldn't trust it. I'd say 80% of our population is overweight. And I would say a good, 30% are obese. And that's heartbreaking. Look at COVID. What is one of the things they say? You can't be obese.
Yeah, it's a big risk
factor.
Yeah.
The risks factor of not getting caught. What do you need? A good immune system, right? It's about your immune system. That's the doctor that comes and says, I'm going to fight all this stuff. How do you get a good immune system? Work out. Eat well. You don't have to, you can have your Twinkie or whatever you want, your hot fudge, I do. But you have to do these things. Yeah. So it's absolutely critical for that as well.
I might have to have a hot fudge sundae this weekend after hearing you mention it a couple times.
It's my favorite.
Awesome. No, I agree fully. And you're clearly very self-motivated, which is also very interesting to hear. I wanted to, we've got a moment here, and we'll definitely talk more about business in a moment, because I want to ask you some more questions. But I did want to take a moment to talk about Oddworld, since you're here, and it's certainly played a role in my past. Do you know what I always found of your games? They're really, really hard. And I think that's why I never completed the first one, probably didn't play the rest, which is more about my own issues with challenging games as opposed to your game not being like, not keeping me interested. I'm just curious, do you get that a lot from people that play your games, that they're just really hard?
We screwed up. Look, it was real simple. We'd never
Oh,
made a
really?
game before. We'd never made a game before. We come from the effects world.
Okay.
I did, you can't see, but all the stuff so when we started doing video games, um, we didn't know what we were doing. And I mean, this PlayStation, there was no console had ever come out. The way I got into it very quickly is I was working at a studio, and I'm seeing everybody on the internet playing Doom. And I'm going, that's horrible. I am against this kind of violence, da 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 da. And I don't approve of video games. I don't, which is very odd world. Anyway, so the end of the
How come
story
you
is
don't approve of video games?
because they're too violent.
Oh,
I
those
do
types of video games.
and look,
Okay.
let's not kid ourselves. The majority of video games played by young people are violent. I shouldn't say. What's the number one video game that everybody loves? Fortnite.
Yeah, right.
And do you know how much money Fortnite has made?
Oh,
Billions.
God. Really,
Billions. What is it about? Killing. It's about the Hunger Games. That's what they took. So no, I don't like video games. I don't believe in them. But but it's your right. I believe in our Constitution. I believe in, it's your right
You
to
believe in
do
your video game, right? Obviously, I'm assuming.
Our video games are about a story.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that my partner convinced me to do it, because I think they're stupid. And he goes, no, we need to get the story out there. And so ours are about characters that you care about, a storyline that you care about. But the first game, we screwed up. It was way too hard. We didn't have a save. We totally screwed it up. Why people became huge fans, especially in Europe, is because they love the story and the characters. Yeah. Then on the second game, I can give you all my excuses, but it doesn't excuse the fact that we screwed up. That's it. We screwed up. So now when you play the games, they'll still be challenging, but you can tell my personality. I like a challenge. They're still challenging, but no, they're not like the Abe's Odyssey that you found so difficult. You found it difficult because it was too difficult. We didn't have a save feature. That was stupid. We didn't know. The PlayStation hadn't come out. We were a launch title for the Xbox. So, I mean, that's how far back we go. So, yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Now you mention it, I do remember. Sorry, by the way, the reason I keep waving my arms is because my light keeps going.
I gathered that. I could figure that out. Yeah. I do this for a living.
Yeah. I now remember not having a save feature and being
embarrassing.
Well, no, I mean,
yes.
No, I mean, you were pioneers.
Yes.
You guys were like, I can't believe we're having this conversation. It's just amazing to me. Like, it's just incredible that you're on the podcast. But because the story was incredible, and just today, I was rewatching YouTube walkthroughs of the first game and watching like the first level and just being like, oh my God, like looking at the intro to the menu and then the menu and the way that pops open and all that stuff, and it just all started coming back to me, and nostalgia as a young kid. It was just quite profound. And in fact, when we first connected, I thought, I'm going to actually try and buy the game and download it and play it before we speak. And I have a Mac, and I don't think it's supported on Mac, is it? Is that right?
No.
Why is that?
Well, okay, I don't want to get technical. Okay. When you do, when you have a lot of data, you need a big. If you have a lot, you have to have CPU. You have to have you have to have a lot of CPU power, and you have to have a lot of GPU power. Mac just doesn't have it. It's why we don't do mobile games. It's like we just did. Sorry about that. We just did Switch. We've never been able to do Nintendo. So once you do a game, you can take that game and port it to another system. So you can if you make your game on the Sony PlayStation, then you use all of their protocols, everything. Now you want to use it on Xbox, then you have to use it. They have a different engine. But on Switch or on Mac, it's just not powerful enough. So it's not powerful enough.
My Mac sucks.
Yeah. No, I love Mac. Make no mistake. I mean,
Yeah.
Jobs was brilliant. I'm not going to talk about Tim Cook. And every time he changes the iPhone, I want to. But no, our games are not really mobile games. We did one game to Game Boy. That was a mistake. They're just too computationally heavy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just wonder, I was thinking about why you guys have been so successful with the Oddworld Inhabitants games. And I wondered, is it basically a blue ocean thing? Was it because you created something completely new, like a new category of games, basically, with your game? What was the reason it was so successful, would you
I
say?
don't, I don't think we get that much credit. I think that what we
Okay.
did is that if you go to a movie, why do you like one movie and not another? Generally, you'll say, well, I really like that character and I really like the story. I'm sorry about this. They're doing cleaning
No, I
out here.
can't. I
You
can
can't
barely
hear it?
hear it.
Okay,
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
It's the guy who comes and, does the trash.
Oh, yeah. No
Um,
problem.
so it's like the reason that our games, and here's what's really funny, our games did way better in Europe. Why? Because when we started, we had Abe do this fart, and the children loved it, and we hated it. We did it, but it was like, oh God. The reason people like our games is because they identify with the characters, they care about the story. So in America, everybody's, oh, look at the fart button, the fart button. We go to Europe when we're talking, doing our spiel, they got the story. The Europeans got the story and they're going, oh my God, Abe's this little creature, everything that we're going through now. He's been oppressed by these gluckins and now they're going to chop them up. And, it's about the story and it's about korma, right? And so if you kill everybody, which you can, because I believe everybody has a choice to do what they want to do unless it's criminal and, like that. But if you want to kill everybody, you can do that in my game. And then at the end, you have what's called bad korma. And what happens?
Okay.
You killed Abe. Or, and then the kids can't stand that Abe died because of their choices. So then they go back and play it again. And if you save the Mudokons, then you get the good ending. And then you feel proud that you
See,
did
I
the
never got
right
that
thing.
far.
No, I know. Well, that game, it's too hard. I mean, that game,
No,
look, it's
that wasn't a
25 years.
slight.
I
That
mean,
wasn't a slight on me more than you.
no, it's not. No, you have to understand. A lot of people said that. Look, it's not personal. That's where I'm really good. It's not personal. A lot of
Yeah.
people aren't going to like our games. That's okay. It's a
Mm.
choice. Everything, Lawrence, is a choice. No matter what anybody thinks, it's a choice to be healthy.
Yeah.
It's a choice to make a game that all you're doing is shooting. That's okay. If people want to do that and if parents want to buy games where all you do is shoot and kill, look, you ask a guy, okay, Lawrence, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. Here's my game. You're going to shoot everything. You're going to kill everything. You're going to blow everything up, okay? And you take the
Mhm.
controller. You go, yeah, good. You say that to a woman. You go to a girl. You go, okay, here's what you need to do. You need to kill everything. You need to blow it all up. And she goes, why? Why? You don't need to do that. You can save the Mudokons. And then you're going to get a good ending because you did the right thing. And you say to me, what's the right thing? Everyone knows what the right thing is. Everybody knows what the right thing. I don't need to tell you that. I don't need to tell you that for your health you need to work out, you need to eat well, you need to sleep. You already know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. It's just I love Nike. Do it. Shut the fuck up and do it. And that's all it is. It's a choice. Everything's a choice. And in our games, everything is a choice. And you're either going to be rewarded at the end of every game or you're not. You're going to kill Abe. And the children and the adult, they can't stand that because of their choices. So our
Now I
games
know
are
why
successful because
my
of that.
fiance loves the game so much because when obviously I found out or speaking to you, told her she was very excited and she loved the game because she can't stand any games where you're like killing people and things like
Yes,
that. So
yes. I
this
told you it's
game
a girl.
resonates with her. Yeah, yeah, for sure, big time. Look, as we sort of draw to a close, Sherry, I really wanted to talk to you about some of the things you said on another interview, which I'm going to link to in the blog post from this where I can't remember again the name of the person who's interviewing you, but it was like a whole interview about your background and your values and women in gaming and all, and it was amazing. And I think if people want to get more context on you, I'll send them there, and that'll be in the show notes of this over episode 291, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Good for you.
thank you.
Wow.
And so you were, yeah, I'm catching up with Joe Rogan. I think he's on 1500, so we're getting there.
Joe Rogan's, look, what did he get? $100 million to go from Spotify? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool, but
I
just to
know, we
side
all
note, I'm
are.
quite
We are
concerned
too.
about the
We are too.
censorship.
I know.
Is that what you're
It's
concerned about,
bad.
the
Yes,
censorship?
absolutely.
Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
that's what makes his show so great. It's so raw and honest.
Exactly.
And he has right, left, everything on there, you
That's
know?
right.
So I'm a bit worried about that.
Me
So
too. I think we all are right
okay.
now. It's really scary because he's been so good for so long, being able
Yeah.
to say whatever he wants. I mean, we're
Yeah.
getting, the censorship on Facebook and on Twitter, on the alt-right and whatever. These people, you have the right to say whatever you want, as long as it doesn't hurt someone else. Da 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 da. But you have to understand, in America, people don't get what the First Amendment's about. It's about supporting. Anyway, I could talk about forever on that. Okay, I'm sorry. Cut,
No,
Sherry. Go.
it's okay. No, I fully agree with what you're about to say.
Yeah, I won't go
But
there.
I generally don't talk politics on this
Yeah,
show.
exactly. Right.
I am very interested in it, and who knows, maybe I'll start another show and talk about that in the future. Although I feel like there's quite a lot on it already. But I feel like what we need, to your point, is more honesty, more authenticity online,
Right.
because a lot of it's being censored and
Totally.
cancelled. And yeah, so watch this space. And through my own medium, through high intensity business, I always want to be, completely transparent and honest. And you know, connected to that is this interview I watched with you. The individual was asking about success and business and life lessons and things like that, and you were talking about your core values and your ethics, and some of the stuff just really resonated with me. Like you said, it's the one thing people need to focus on is a life of integrity. Um, and just being truthful and transparent. And do you see that in your experience in business now and in the past? Do you think that integrity is a rare trait, unfortunately, in people?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's just pathetic. It kills me. But you have to understand. Can I give you a really quick story?
go for it.
Okay, so I'm Jewish. But not really. My parents were not religious. 1%. We celebrated Christmas. But if you're Jewish, you get it. It's more like I don't know. It's just not just the religion, because I'm not religious. 1%. Totally spiritual, and I don't go anywhere without my angel on my shoulder. And and so to me, I remember it. So what started this was, I said to my dad, and again, he was the one that like, you got to be on time and all that, because if you're not, that's the height of arrogance, thinking your time is more important than someone else's time. So why should you ever be late? There's never an excuse. Okay, Dad, I get
Love
it.
that. Love that.
So one time I came to him and I said, Dad, all these people are religious and they're praying to God and they're Catholic and they're this and they're Christian and they're Jewish. And, we don't do that. So what's going to happen if you're wrong? What if there is a judgment day and there is a dude with a white beard and I go to him and I say, I didn't believe in you. I just believed, I didn't pray to you. I go, Dad, what's going to happen to us? And he said, well, let me just tell you this. What's most important in life is that you maintain your integrity. You don't lie, cheat, or steal. And if you do, now he was an attorney, you'll go to jail. So that was the big thing. I'll go to jail if I lie? Absolutely. It was a little, oh God, okay, I'll never lie. I don't want to go to jail. And so those were really important to him. So I said, okay, no lie, cheat, and okay, I get all that. That's when I was young, and he always said that. So I don't lie, cheat, or steal. And I said, but what if you're wrong? What if there is this heaven and this? And he said, the only thing that matters is that every night before you go to sleep, you have your integrity intact. You can never, ever compromise it. And if that is how you live, then you get up to Judgment Day and the dude says, I'm sorry, you can't be admitted because you didn't believe in me. You don't want to be there anyway. You want to be where
Yeah.
they care about integrity. So you have nothing to worry about. I went, okay, so then I don't have to. I pray every night, but I pray to the universe. I pray to what I know I believe, which is about acceptance and love and doing the right thing.
Mm.
And you can't go wrong doing that. So all this stuff that's going on right now, these riots and the looting, it's not good. It's bad energy. I believe in energy and vibration, and
Mhm.
everything is energy. Everything is energy. Tesla, not the car, Tesla, got it right. And he understood it's about energy and vibration. Put out good, positive feeling. It's not pretend. Study the brain. Study what is real. Research it yourself. It sounds woo woo. No, we're all connected. We are all connected. There's never an excuse. My dad said to me, Sherry, everyone, Everyone is who you are is fabulous. What you do could be something else, but we all deserve respect. I don't care if it's a secretary or my judge friends. You treat them all the same because they all deserve to have that respect. Now, some people will, that's who you are. What you do is different. But who we are, we're all the same. We're all connected. We're all connected to the animals and to the trees. We're all connected. So you need to put out that positive energy. And these things are real. We just haven't studied them because they don't teach it. So that's enough of my lecture.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I strongly agree with much of what you said. And I think it's that whole like, if you act with integrity and you benefit the small group around you who you come in contact with, you know, the random people on the street, people in the cafes, family, friends, by positively benefiting them, they're going to benefit their network. They're more likely to have positive, you know, that positive behavior is going to kind of exponentially expand out through your network.
That's right.
It's like ripples in a pond, right?
Yes.
And I really believe that, and I really believe we will have responsibility to magnify that and, or, sorry, amplify that, and you know, take responsibility for every. Yeah, like it's just, I'm just repeating what you're saying, really. It's like when you act with a lack of integrity, it's like you're putting out a little bit of evil into the universe, right?
That's right. You are.
And I feel like there's a disproportionate amount of that happening right now. I know we're getting
That's
back
correct.
to politics. And part of that I'm struggling with at the moment is people not just being honest about what they think. There's a lot of groupthink happening, right? People saying the party line, not saying what they really think because they're too afraid.
Absolutely.
And that
It's
is
horrifying.
that
This
is
is
very
horrifying
scary.
where we are right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah.
whether you believe in how, look, COVID is real. How real, I don't know. But I
Hmm.
know this. We are social creatures. And as social
Yeah,
creatures, we need social interaction. When we get isolated, then we get wound up. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Isolation doesn't work for our species. We can't be isolated. We're social creatures. I won't go into the politics, but that we know is a fact.
yeah,
That's all I
yeah.
can say on that.
But I just bringing it now, I agree fully, and thank you for sharing that. And just to sort of bring it right back to business, I felt like you gave some real, and I know, you know, I point people to this other interview you did, which will be on the blog post for this episode 291. But I feel like you gave like a really simple recipe. You were like, just active integrity, do work you're proud of, do work you love, and work hard, and like you will achieve your goals. And that's not verbatim what you said, but that was the gist I
That's
gathered from it.
exactly right.
And I just think you're going to have a successful life if you have a life of integrity.
Absolutely.
I just thought that was really powerful. Yeah.
It's so true, though. You know, we put out energy, it's energy. And if we put out bad energy, then we're going to attract bad energy, and then we're not going to feel good. This is
Mm.
not brain surgery, pun intended. It's not. Do the right thing, put out positive energy, and you will get the law of attraction. It's real. Then that attraction, the goodness will come back to you. What does everybody want? One thing and one thing only. They want to be loved. That's
Yeah.
all people want. They want to be loved. What does that mean? They want to be respected. They want to be cared for. They want to be loved. We remove love, and what do we have? Hate?
Yeah.
This is not good. We need love. That's what the universe is. That's what religion is. You know, that's what the God with the white beard is. It's about love and being accepted and treating people, you know, do unto others. How brilliant was that? That's real simple. Do unto others as you, I mean, we all know that one. We all know what to do. It's just doing it. Right now, we're in chaos. This is not good. Politically, it's not good where we are right now. What's the solution? I don't know what the solution is, but I can tell you that there has to be a solution because this is not it's not good what's happening in our society. And to get back to business, you have to work out. You got to do the right thing. You got to eat well. You got to sleep well. Come on. If we just all do that, it'll be okay. But it's not okay because we're not doing that, because we're not taught that, because the mainstream media doesn't think it's important. And it's very sad. It's very sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, you know, hopefully interviews like this will help turn the tide in a small fraction like way. But there are people I have optimism in the long term, and I guess I'm sorry to sort of bring us to more of a negative note at the end of this podcast. But Sherry, this has been such a pleasure to talk to you, and really enjoyed this conversation, and really excited for it to go out to the world. And I think you've shared some incredible insights on who you are, and how the hit studio owners out there can better understand the clients they work with and the clients they want to attract into their business. What's the best way for my listeners to find out more about you? Where can we send them?
What do they want to find out about me for?
Because you're very interesting.
No, there's a lot of interesting people. I have nothing more interesting to say. I don't think they really want to find out about me. I mean, you can go to my Oddworld site, but I'm just, it's like, I know. Look, I've been in Hollywood. I worked in Hollywood, and I get really excited. I mean, I did this thing with Steven Spielberg, but then he's just a person. So don't think that I don't get excited. Oh my God, I'm working with Steven. And then the next, he's just like you or me. It's just who he is no different than who you are or who I am. What he did, remember, who you are, what you do, very different. So who he is, he's just a person like you and me. What he did, he's Steven Spielberg. So he gets a certain kind of respect for that. But then I just got to work with him. I got, and there's another guy, I won't mention his name, another director that was a monster, and I won't work with him again. He's mean. I'm not going to do that. So these are all choices. Everyone has a choice. No matter, it's your choice to be who you want to be. Who do you think, who else is going to choose that? It's your choice. Don't blame it on other people. Everybody has good excuses, but that doesn't excuse the behavior. No. Choose to do the right thing. Choose to be happy. Choose to work out to the best of your ability, because it's going to help your brain, it's going to help your body, it's going to help your attitude. You will see results, not just the physical, not, oh man, look at God, 73, is that cool? Not just that. It's how it helps you as a human being. And that's what we all are, and we're all connected.
Yeah. Love how you brought it all back. It's funny. I don't know where I heard this, but you make me think about when you say it's not, it's who you are and what you do are two different things. I can't remember where I heard this from, but it's like when you die, it's like people don't remember what you did necessarily, or remember all your achievements or how much money you made. They remember who you were.
That's right.
Like your reputation.
That's right.
That was really powerful when I heard that, because I was like, that kind of serves as a really good filter for what you really need to focus on in life. Again, it goes back to being a person of integrity, to having, to honor your core values and have strong ethics. Just a side note, we've just, in setting up our strategy for our personal training business in Galway, we use something called EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, which is, really popular framework in different industries, but certainly in HIT. We were talking about, we were trying to come out of our core values, and we were reviewing them. And one of them we weren't quite sure about. And I said, can we replace this one we're not sure about with leading honorable lives? Because I'm really into like military stuff and like the Navy SEALs and the SAS and all those movies. And I would never, I have not got any of the courage required to ever be like a soldier. And I think those people are incredible. But I love their attitudes and what they stand for and a brotherhood and all that stuff. And I love that kind of, that I love the idea of, just living honorably in every sense. And I thought, you know what, this is really encapsulates everything we want our team to embody as part of our business. We want people to active integrity. We're not going to recommend someone trains 3 times a week so it makes more revenue if we feel like they're not recovered.
Right.
We want them always to be honest with each other and with their superiors, and like, and we want that obviously vice versa. And it's just like, I just felt like that was such an important core value, so that's one of the ones that we decided to add to our thing, which is going to then determine how we, hire, review, recognize employees, all those kinds of things. So you really inspired me, I guess, in terms of the core values being a really important thing.
Let me tell you one thing with your kid. This has nothing to do with this interview, but one of the things I believe with children, and you only have a baby, so you have time. But when the child gets older, they really need to know that they're great, that they're fabulous, because self-esteem is what we need. And where people get get into trouble is their self-esteem. And so what you have to do, in my opinion, I wasn't going to say that. I was like, no, that's all my opinion. So you say to a child, the child spills the milk, and you go, okay, not good what you did. Spilling the milk, not good, but you're great.
Okay.
You're great. And we know that it's not good to spill the milk, right? We don't want to spill the milk. You did. It's okay. But it's not a good thing to do. It's what you did. But who you are, you're fabulous. You're great. You made a mistake. And what are mistakes for? To learn. We all make mistakes. There's not a human alive, Gandhi included, and he's not alive, that doesn't learn from mistakes. We all make mistakes. Learn from them. Learn, oh, okay, if I don't hold the glass that way, maybe I won't spill the milk. But it's not who you are. Who you are is great. What you did, not so great. So we won't do that. This is really important in life. Yeah. We have to have self-esteem. And when we start getting depressed and thinking, oh my God, this person is better than I am, they're taller than I, all people are created equally? No, they're not. I'm sorry. I know that's a big tenet of, no, we're not created equally. Some people are better looking. Some people are richer. Some people are stronger. Okay, doesn't matter. Yeah. You have a choice. The most important thing you have to remember in life, you have a choice. If you end up stealing and doing bad things, that was your choice. Don't tell me, oh, but I didn't have any money. You made the wrong choice. Choose to be a good person. That'll emanate through the world. And that's what we need. We need light. And if we emanate that, we will all heal.
See, you brought it back to a positive note, which is exactly what I wanted.
Good.
So that is a great way to end this podcast. And for everyone listening, to find the blog post for this episode and download free PDF resources to help you grow your high-intensity training business, please go to highintensitybusiness.com and search episode 291. Sherry, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure. And for everyone listening, until next time, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Lawrence, for having me.